We don't have accounts for shabby poor people.
When I went to the bank in tattered clothes, Jessica, a bank employee who seemed to have recently been assigned there, looked down upon me. She appeared to be an elite who had just started working at this bank, but perhaps she hadn't been informed about anything. I tried several times after that, but was turned away at the door. Realizing this was going nowhere, I decided to take another action. I'm canceling my corporate account with $600 million in it. As soon as I said that, Jane, a senior bank employee, was surprised and asked me why. Afterward, the newly bank employee Jessica lost everything. My name is Amelia, 35 years old. I'm currently working as a freelance engineer. I used to work for an IT company before I started freelancing, but I quit because I wanted to be independent. It was a struggle at first, but I managed to make ends meet and earn an income. There have been many hardships, but I have no regrets. I live in my home office and am very happy because I can work whenever and as much as I like. However, I recently experienced an unfortunate event. It was at a certain bank. That day, I needed to withdraw money from the bank. It was the end of the month, so I had to make various payments. I always feel intimidated when I visit the bank after a long time. The bank is quiet, which somehow makes me feel uneasy while waiting, but finally, it was my turn. "Excuse me, I'd like to withdraw some money." The person who assisted me was a flamboyantly dressed woman, unusual for a bank employee. Her makeup looked like it took a long time to apply, something I couldn't muster the effort to do daily, which intimidated me. She was the type of person I generally find difficult to deal with, so I wanted to finish up quickly and go home. But it didn't go as planned.
Withdraw money? Excuse me, but do you actually have an account with this bank?
What do you mean?
Well, I thought maybe you came to borrow money or something, because with that look, you know.
I wonder if the woman who looks at me seriously doesn't know the word rude. Glancing at her name tag, I saw it read Jessica. I denied Jessica's words and reiterated that I had come to withdraw money.
If you want to withdraw, you could use the ATM, you know.
Oh, no, it's just that.
Huh? I can hear what you're saying. Can you speak more clearly?
Jessica's condescending attitude made me feel very uncomfortable. I want to withdraw money.
Sorry, but it's a waste of my time dealing with you. I can hear what you're saying, so come back when you can speak more clearly, okay?
Her dismissive gesture was like she was shooing away a bug. My spirit was completely broken, and I silently got up from my seat. Being looked down upon without proper communication left me feeling unsettled, but I hoped a different person would assist me if I came on another day. I returned home feeling upset. Although I tried to get to work, I couldn't focus and ended up not getting much done. Another day, I revisited the bank, intending to withdraw money. About a week had passed since then. I had been putting it off because I was dreading going back. I thought there was no way I'd run into Jessica again so soon, so I decided to give it another shot. Unfortunately, as I sat waiting my turn, I ran into Jessica, who was on the floor.
Oh, you are back again. You never learn, do you? Just having someone as shabby looking as you around lowers the value of this bank.
Hello? I need to withdraw some money.
Withdrawing money, huh? How much are you planning to withdraw? It's probably just chump change, right?
Jessica treated me with the same dismissive attitude as before. I didn't need to tell her the amount, but feeling overwhelmed, I honestly answered, roughly $15,000.
$15,000? Why would someone like you need that kind of money? Don't tell me you're in debt or something. Or is it to pay off that debt? It's probably your parents' money. You know, it's pretty shameful to be so ungrateful to your parents.
Jessica made up a completely baseless image of me. I didn't want to bother denying it, but I also hated letting her comments go unchallenged, so I insisted it was my money. Still, she looked at me with doubt, making me wonder if it made any difference. Jessica said I look poor, but I'm not struggling with money. Do I really look that impoverished? I'm not fashionable, I don't have the kind of look of Jessica, and I wear light makeup. That makes me wonder if she thinks so. Talking to her really knocked my confidence. Just as I was thinking about leaving, my turn came up.
Amelia.
Oh, Jane, sorry, I'll come now. I said a word to Jessica, and I headed over to Jane. Jane is the senior bank employee who always handled my transactions. She has always been kind and courteous, never showing a bad attitude to anyone. I liked Jane because I could talk calmly. But to my surprise, Jessica said to Jane,
Jane, you don't have to bother with this person. She says she wants to withdraw $15,000, but who knows if she even has that much.
Jane's eyes widened in shock, and she scolded Jessica.
What kind of attitude is that? Jessica, I've told you before, treating our customers rudely affects the trust in our bank. Stop it.
Yeah, my apologies. I'll be going then.
Despite Jane's reprimand, Jessica left nonchalantly. Watching her leave, Jane sighed deeply.
I'm so sorry about that. She's new here, but we've had some issues with her. Apparently, she was considered an elite at her previous bank and was trusted, but...
Jane apologized with a troubled look. It seems Jessica really is a problematic person. I just had the bad luck of running into her.
It seems she's been decent to others, but she's taken a strange interest in you. I'll keep an eye out, so this doesn't spoil your mood further.
Thank you. I felt somewhat relieved by Jane's words. But then, an even more unpleasant event happened to me. However, it would lead to a significant change in circumstances.
Oh, what? You look a mess. Wait, aren't you Amelia? Back again, and dressed like that?
Jessica squinted at me. I must have looked bitter. I was up all night that day, and I came to the bank in my usual vintage clothes. I had managed to withdraw the money thanks to Jane before, but I was going to check the transfer this time. There was a little big deal. Yet again, Jessica stood in my way. And I haven't even entered the bank yet. I met Jessica in the bank's parking lot. I was tired from staying up all night, and I really didn't want to deal with someone as draining as Jessica today. But she didn't care about my situation and started bothering me anyway.
Coming here dressed like that, were you hoping to get some money handed out to you? It's just so shallow and annoying. Jane is too nice for her own good, letting poor people like you wander around our bank.
I'll be leaving soon today.
That doesn't matter. Customers will get suspicious and confused if someone as poor looking as you goes inside. So you should leave now.
She said this with a smug look on her face. I'm really just here to update my bank statement today. It was supposed to be a quick visit, but having Jessica around made me hesitant. Why does every visit to the bank have to involve such a hassle? It was just so depressing to think about. I'm only here to update my bank statement. Can I go now? As I tried to walk past Jessica, she turned around and said,
We don't have accounts for shabby poor people.
Hearing her words, I was thoroughly disgusted and decided it was pointless to engage with her any further. Understood. As I said this, Jessica started laughing triumphantly.
You're quite obedient, aren't you? You didn't have one in the first place. You are just bluffing and getting Jane to help you. You were actually here to borrow money, right? How embarrassing. An adult who can't even earn properly.
I thought to myself, let her say whatever she wants. It's useless talking to her. As I resigned myself to this thought, Jessica looked at me with a bored expression.
Why don't you say something back? Or is it too accurate for you to respond?
No, I just think it's a waste of time to say anything to you.
Oh, so not being able to retort just makes you even more pitiful.
Jessica's mocking attitude just made me feel worse. It was truly pathetic not to be able to say anything back. But I couldn't shake the feeling that anything I said would just be twisted against me. You seem to be under a misunderstanding, but I'm not the poor person you think I am. I've moved out of my parents' house and work properly as a freelance engineer. I've never felt miserable about myself. I'm satisfied with my life as it is.
What's that? An excuse? Poor people always have to put on airs to avoid feeling miserable, right?
I'm telling you, I'm not poor. Getting worked up, she just narrowed her eyes, looking pleased with herself. She must just enjoy belittling anyone she can. What a miserable person. I'd rather be poor than wealthy if it meant becoming someone like her.
I'm an elite, you know. I live a life of luxury. You can't even imagine. My parents are proud of me, and the bank trusts me. You're like the moon to my sun, you know. Aren't you jealous?
I don't feel any envy. You look more miserable to me. What are you going to be for showing off?
That's why you get treated like this. You're probably looked down on everywhere you go. Serves you right.
Jessica said loudly and burst into laughter.
One day, I'll be the head of this place. Then I'll be on top, making $600,000 a year. You wouldn't understand the value of that kind of money. But that's okay. It's an amount you'll never see in your lifetime.
Jessica had a provocative smile on her face. All I could think was what an ambitious person she was. Jessica then went back into the bank. She probably felt satisfied after saying everything she wanted. In contrast, I was left feeling nauseated by the encounter. I wondered if there was any way to get back at her and shouted, I'm canceling my corporate account with $600 million. I've decided now. I can't trust a bank that employs people like you. Jessica was stunned at first, but after a few seconds, she laughed and confidently asked, What kind of joke is that? That's the last time she'll be laughing about it. My irritation with Jessica had turned into sheer disbelief. How can someone be so demeaning? What kind of life must one lead to end up like that? I left without offering any further explanation. I had decided that I could no longer trust this bank. I took immediate next action.
What in the world is this about?
The next day, I received a call on my cell phone from a number I didn't recognize. I answered the phone suspiciously. To my surprise, it was Jessica on the other end. Her voice sounded panicked. She was trying to explain something, but clearly struggled to find the right words. When I asked how she got my number, she admitted to looking up my personal information and calling me without permission. Is that even allowed? I asked her what was so important that she had to go to such lengths. After a pause, she began her clumsy explanation.
I had no idea you had a $600 million account.
That was the only thing she said clearly. Wondering what that had to do with anything, I asked for details. Jessica then described in detail what had happened at the bank the day before. Apparently, she was reprimanded severely by Jane after our encounter. She was lectured about her behavior towards me and told that such actions were not acceptable on a moral level. Initially, Jessica didn't take it seriously. She thought it was only natural to treat someone who looked cool like me with disdain, believing that respect should be earned through appropriate appearance and behavior. However, Jane sternly informed her.
You seem to be under a misunderstanding. She may say she's a freelance engineer, but she holds a $600 million corporate account.
What? Really?
I wouldn't lie. You judge people too much by their appearance. And to think you weren't aware of such a major client. Are you really an elite? Because of your reckless behavior, Amelia is planning to terminate her account, causing us significant damage. How do you plan to take responsibility?
Jessica was reportedly flustered by Jane's harsh scolding. She worried about a blemish on her record. She pleaded for a chance to win back the contract, promising not to repeat her mistake.
That's why I'm asking for your help, reconsidering the cancellation of the contract. Please, I won't be rude again.
I felt exasperated by her selfish request. Why should I help her after being treated so poorly every time? Even if you say that now, I have no obligation to help you. I'll be contracting with another bank, so you should just accept the consequences of your actions. When I responded, Jessica cursed me as terrible and the worst, but she was the one at fault. From our first meeting, she judged and belittled me, repeatedly hurling insults. It's only natural I'd want nothing more to do with her. As I was about to hang up, Jessica begged me to come to the bank one last time to resolve things. I decided to go to the bank to settle the matter with her. Instead of remaining in a bad mood, I wanted to talk to her and put an end to this matter. I thought it would be necessary to sort out my feelings.
Thank you. I apologize for my previous rude behavior.
Upon seeing me at the bank, Jessica quickly approached and led me to a seat. Her demeanor had changed. She was now overly submissive, which honestly didn't sit well with me. I'm here solely to settle things. My decision to cancel the contract remains unchanged. I immediately made my stance clear to Jessica. She then began to profusely apologize, sweating profusely. However, her apologies didn't sound genuinely remorseful. It seemed she didn't truly understand what she was apologizing for. It looks like she's just apologizing to me to protect herself. Sensing Jessica's insincerity, I couldn't help but feel bitter.
I am really sorry. If you reconsider the contract, I'll prioritize you over other customers and immediately share any beneficial information. Of course, setting up your account again will be swift and hassle-free.
No, that won't be necessary. Your apologies don't seem heartfelt. If you were truly remorseful, you'd understand why things turned out this way, right? And yet, you still think you can persuade me to stay? At my words, Jessica could only groan softly. I intended to show that nothing she said could change my mind, but Jessica still made excuses and refused to admit her fault. She rather defiantly starts talking about my fault after all.
If Amelia had dressed more appropriately, nothing would have happened. How about paying more attention to your appearance? It's quite rude to come out in public dressed like that.
While I understood what Jessica was trying to say, there was no justification for her words. Criticizing someone just because they wear old or inexpensive clothes is rude on Jessica's part. After all, not everyone at the bank dresses in brand name attire. Everyone wears similar clothes and quietly waits for their turn to complete their transactions. Jessica probably targeted me because she perceived me as weak. I've always been passive and not good at talking back, but that's no reason to look down on someone. Besides, it's not as if I had caused Jessica any trouble to deserve such treatment.
Just because you teased me a bit doesn't mean you have to go this far. You're harassing me because you want to drag me down, right?
No, that's not it. I can't stand your unreasonable behavior. It's unbearable to be harassed by you whenever I come to the bank. That's why I decided to switch banks. You have no right to criticize me.
You should have said that from the beginning. I wouldn't have behaved like this if I had known about the account with a lot of money.
Jessica became too desperate, digging her own grave. Her loud complaints caused a stir among the people around us. Someone must have reported Jessica and me to the bank staff because Jane and a security guard came rushing over to us.
Jessica, what on earth are you doing?
Jane, I was just trying to get Amelia to reconsider, that's all.
Her gaze wandered as Jane approached. Jane looked at her attitude and glared at her as if she had guessed that the conversation was not peaceful.
Enough. What were you really saying? Don't tell me you were mocking Amelia again. Calling someone out to belittle them is beyond rude. And you're supposed to be an elite recognized by headquarters.
Jane yelled at Jessica in an unusual emotional way. According to Jane, Jessica's behavior was inexcusable for a supervisor. Touched by Jane's anger, Jessica's face contorted in fear, probably never having been seriously yelled at before. She has lost her nerve. Jane sharply warned her.
If you continue causing a scene, I'll have the security guard escort you out. Your behavior will be reported to headquarters for further action. With someone like you around, the bank's reputation will surely suffer, forcing headquarters to act.
But I've been working hard to become the head of this bank. If you do this, it'll tarnish my career.
If someone like you becomes the head, the bank will surely go under. Start taking responsibility for your actions and think about your situation.
Jessica looked at me half in tears when Jane told her so.
Amelia, say something. Because of you, my life is ruined.
Jessica glared at me, wiping away tears. She is helpless to blame people to the end. This is the result of your own actions. Why don't you accept and reflect on that? I told her coldly and headed for the bank's exit. Jessica desperately tried to stop me, but fearing she might cause harm, the security guard restrained her and took her away. Such a nuisance. Wanting to avoid further trouble, I quickly got into my car and drove to another bank. I'll open a new corporate account and get my mind back on track. I was thinking about that while driving. Later, I heard from Jane that Jessica was fired in a meeting at headquarters. Apparently, her problematic behavior and tendency to arrogantly claim credit for others' work had been exposed. Despite her resistance and attempts to avoid dismissal, her superficial lies convinced no one. After being ousted from the bank, Jessica, unable to forget her high-standard lifestyle, incurred debts to maintain appearances. However, her debt grew unmanageable, and she was unable to borrow from regular banks. Resorting to borrowing from dangerous sources, Jessica could no longer lead a peaceful life and reportedly fled in the night. Her current whereabouts are unknown. This story, which Jane shared with me. It's only a rumor, but I thought Jessica could do it. As for me, I continue working as a freelance engineer. After successfully completing a significant transaction that led to more opportunities, I've now achieved a stable income. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say I'm successful. The company has grown, and I'm no longer running it alone, but working alongside a few employees, sharing the workload. I am not haughty like Jessica, but I am living within my means,